him it burned. And I told him it's for a reason. And now he's opening up his third location.
Wow.
And you know, and I told him I realized the same thing. Like, it had to be taken because I was complacent. When you're destined for greatness, and all of us are, and once you get in alignment with that greatness, and in your own individual right. If you become complacent or you're not using it, it will be taken from you. And when you realize that it's not taken away for good, it's just a wake-up call. You know, and that's what it became. Like, you have to go keep that same ambition, keep that same drive. And that's one of the things that I'm disciplining myself on constantly even now. It's just like, even though I've gotten to this point, still continue to have that inner ambition and drive and determination to go further.
And to know there's more.
Yeah, and then there is. And you just have to plan accordingly, and it sounds like it's not easy. I'm not going to say that at all.
Right.
Like, it hasn't been, because there's been so many times, even when I restarted, even to get into the space, it took me a year and a half, because I'm a black man trying to open up a business in downtown. And it's a hard reality, but that's what it was. So it took me a year and a half to get in this building, to get the doors open. I used to have to ride tours by this building every day.
Wow.
And I knew that that's what I wanted. Like, I saw it every day, but I could have been in my feelings that, you know, everything else wasn't perfect. Like, I started in the back of a pickup truck. Then it got to a point to where we had a storage unit and we would rent U-Hauls, and, you know, I was spending money at U-Haul every month. But, you know, back in my mind, I kept looking for ways to make it better, to optimize. And that's what I've always done in data analytics. I would come into these corporations and I would assess your corporation, sit with just about all the employees that were part of your process. And within the first 60 to 90 days, I would generate a report of how you can optimize your business by inserting technology. You know, from spreadsheets to scorecards to automating, you know, queries to replicating database, you name it. But what I did was take that same underlying premise of analyzing business and started analyzing my own, and how I could optimize it and make it better. And that's why, you know, even now, to the point to where, you know, I'll make changes, I'll put things in place and take things out. But when you really start looking at your life in that regard, we're given a lot of things that we can really take advantage of and monetize and grow from, that'll make us better people as a whole. And that's really what I've just, when that final push that really opened my eyes was working at the convention center in New Orleans and just going through what I went there. Like, I literally saved them $350,000 by helping them navigate through contracts and picking apart, like, this isn't needed. Nobody was really doing that. But to get to the point to where I've interviewed everyone, and the only reason why you didn't want to take my advice or my consulting was because it was coming from me. And I even told them, I was like, look, if you bring in a consultant and just have them to do what I'm doing, because everybody said I was too new. I'm like, I don't have to know what you're doing to know what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like, all right, I'm not here to learn what your job. I'm here to optimize it. But the consultant came and said the same thing, and he did it. But I knew that's what it would take. But that was kind of like the last straw for me. I stopped. I couldn't do it anymore. And the next thing I knew that I wanted a position to where I could focus on the bikes, really write my lesson plans, be flexible, and earn an honest income. And, you know, kind of like dictate my own schedule was rideshare. I Uber and Lyfted for like a year. So a lot of people they would see me, but not. But all the while I'm doing all of these positions, all these jobs, I was still doing tours. So any given night of the week, it could be mostly Fridays and Saturdays. It could be a random Tuesday. It could be it didn't matter. You schedule a tour, I'm going to do it. So I would load up kept the bikes in my house. I cleared out my den, kept all these bikes in my house in New Orleans, and I would still be doing my tours because it was still lucrative income. And I kept trying to work on a way to actually make it make sense. But every job that I had for this past 7 years, I was still working my corporate jobs, but I was always doing tours.
how long have you been full, like,
fully trained?
Yeah.
So after the last position, about 2 years ago, I've always kind of like pushed for the bikes, but it was always all right, so if I own these 2 Airbnbs downtown, I can make this much from the Airbnbs. I could push the bikes enough, but it was never a really heavy push.
Right.
I always thought it was going to be the mix.
Okay.
But I also knew that I had to make a way. I wanted a way to make it make sense.
Yeah.
Even to this day, I'm still trying to place myself. Mm-hmm. And it sounds horrible, but you need to go into any position to where if you really want to make it sustainable, you have to. So I push the brand more than myself.
Yeah.
Because it's more about the brand. It's more about the experience. Mm-hmm. And that's it's helped. It's really given me some great traction. Okay. But it's also like allowed me to step back, understand the business, and really see where I want to go with it, and really help people to get involved. But from Uber and Lyfting, that was one of the things I just knew I could do. Wake up and do on my own time schedule and not be so mentally ingrained. Like I'm driving, like I'm not. But what I started doing was I did a lot of airport runs. So I have people in my car for like 20, 30 minutes. Right. And
I saw your post about like you were like the best like driver they had or something. I did Lyft before. Like I have done it, but I don't know that I've had that same energy.
I'll tell you, I did like 1,500 rides.
I enjoyed it, but I'm like, I don't know that I was like, what is he doing in the ride?
So it was crazy, right? Because one, I like nice cars, so I would always get this. Why are you Ubering in a Benz? Like that was there were so many people who had never ridden in one. Like it really gave me a reality check on, you would assume that all these other ethnicities would have experienced so much, they haven't. Yeah. Like no matter what, our experiences in life are very similar. It's just presented in news and other places, other kind of ways.
Right.
So I would pick up all these kids from Tulane, and it would either be my mom has one of these, or it would be like I've never been in one of these, or but it was so that set the tone as well, because I was able to kind of like navigate through my cluster. So
not on that level.
I'm one of those, like I said, right? I'm one of those that analyze businesses. So I saw how I can make money in Uber and Lyft, and I knew like the first time I tested it was a Mardi Gras. I made $250 in an hour and a half just driving. Most of it was stuck in traffic, but once I got past the jitters, I didn't want to stop. But my girlfriend from New York was in town. I'm like, I kind of gotta go home. What are you doing? But it really did. It opened my eyes to like, all right, if I can just do this and just put money aside, start buying bikes, start doing what I need to do, that's what it became. But it was. That's when I learned to really explain the business. Like I got you in my car for 30 minutes. You can talk about what I want to talk about. You know what I mean? Like I would hit him with all kinds of things, but it's premeditated. Like all my conversations became premeditated. I'm going to talk about the bikes, and I know you're going to ask me why I'm Uber and Lyfting, and I'm going to explain to you like this is what I'm doing. I'm starting a business, and it started. I'll never forget. There was a guy. We went to to LA. And we wanted to go see the Hollywood sign, and he just opened up. He really opened up, and he changed my perspective on that. He does photography. He's still there, and he was like, "I can go make $3,500 in a shoot, but that doesn't happen every weekend. So this is where I fill in the gaps." And once he broke down the calculations on how he helped me make it make sense, he was just completely transparent about it. Like he was making $3,500 a month. Like you can really make. If you do it the right way, you know what I mean? And the type of vehicle played a part in that.
Right.
So, I can Uber and Lyft Lux, and I know they're going to tip more. The base rate is more, and it's
but
just
you were
a different.
Driving that vehicle already.
Yeah. Yes.
So for the
when I got
don't
it,
drive that vehicle.
I was. But the other thing that I realized, right? Like you don't have to have the newest of anything. You just had to have this vehicle, and you keep it clean and it's presentable. you're like 95% ahead of the game for most of the other Uber and Lyfts, because they don't.
Right.
They're either cramped, they're dirty, they're whatever.
Right.
But it's just about making the most of your situation and make it work for you.
You'll get me a luxury vehicle.
I'm telling you, when I tell you, like now,
upgrade.
Look, now during COVID, I'm like, but I'm not gonna lie, money. Like it was a very viable outlet. Like I for the longest, I was full time doing that and doing bike rides. Right. And I would do that. I had some Airbnbs that I owned, and it was like it was an interesting mix. But the biking as a full time, this is year 4. So year 1 was me stepping out with the 8 bikes. Year 2 was more or less me kind of like in flux because I didn't like doing it anymore, because the initial business relationship just didn't work. Yeah. And year 2 was me still doing it. I did more in New Orleans. Mm-hmm. It was me just kind of understanding what I wanted from it. Yeah. Healing from everything that I went through. And I'm okay with saying it because that's why we're here, right? You're gonna be beat up a lot during this process. Yeah. And you're not gonna know where it's gonna come from. You're not gonna know who knew the Brave team would come in here 3 times last year, like doing bikes. That's it. Like, so like there's all these things that you can't plan for. Yeah. But know that you're built for it. Yeah. And when you can stand on that you're built for it and you can handle it, then you appreciate it differently. Mm-hmm. And that's what it became. Yeah. So year 3 was me reintroducing myself to doing full time here in Baton Rouge again, because one of the things I realized from going to these business seminars was I created a platform for myself that would kind of mitigate. Like when a business comes and they're a brick and mortar and they start for the first time, like now we're open and now we have to get customers. I'd already established myself in doing what I was doing. Yeah. I was just adding a brick and mortar to it. Right. So that's just like, if you want to cook, if you want to do anything that you can, most of the things that we want to do, we can start now, but we think it has to be in this perfect position. Mm-hmm. But people want to see the progression. You build your clientele, mm-hmm. and you also, I won't say perfect your craft, but you hone your craft, right. Because you do. Over years, like I've been in situations where I had 30 people behind me and a speaker rack breaks, mm-hmm. and I'm holding a speaker and pedaling and doing a tour the whole time. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been in these situations, but that's because, I had to learn. Yeah. I've been in scenarios where I kept having somebody that didn't know how to ride a bike and knocked me off the bike 3 times on the tour. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like that's why the speaker seems beat up sometimes. I've had it where the speaker go out. I've had so many scenarios. Yeah. Even when year 3, Juneteenth last year, on the news, everything's going amazingly perfect. I go to this one rental place that's not far from where I lived, and the guy kept saying, make sure you get the insurance, or here's the roadside assistance number. Here's the roadside assistance number. In my head, like, why do you keep wishing that this truck will break down on me? No, he knew the truck was going to break down. So I get all the way downtown, load up the bikes, head to Juneteenth, and it breaks down.
That's when I started riding. Juneteenth.
You see what I'm saying? Like that weekend, right? You know what I mean?
I still came.
So I appreciate it. Like, and that's what I was going through. Like nobody sees that exterior, but I prayed about.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I really just prayed about it, and I really had to just calm down, and it's like, you know what, go anyway. Yeah. You have no bikes, but don't leave them hanging. Just go anyway, mm-hmm. and don't let anybody else tell your story. Yeah. You go and tell the people what happened. Mm-hmm. And I'll never forget one of this politician after I got off stage, because I went up there and told him, I'm like, look, you can plan all you want. Everything can be going your way, and then something knocks you off your, and that's what it's about for me. It's not just about the bikes and the ambiance, but it's about living in the truth that I'm going through. Yeah. And a lot of business owners may want to shield it, or they don't want to share. I don't know what it is, but for me, I'm learning to own what I'm going through and share it, because the support that I get from that has been amazing. Mm-hmm. And you need that. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the people I thought I would get the support from, I didn't. Mm-hmm. Outside of family, they've been extremely supportive. Mm-hmm. But these people that you think that matter, they kind of don't. And it sounds horrible and sounds so cliche, and I never understood how much it would make sense, but it does.
Yeah, and I will.
I'm sorry.
Like, comment on, and I'm like, I'm trying to keep track of it all. Like, it's so good. Right. I want to address that. And then you say something else, I'm like, I'm not gonna remember.
I apologize. I just kind of ran with it. Told you, Uber and Lyft. I ran it up with them. Like 5 I still have like 5.0 stars for my trips, and everything is like. I never forget. This man was like, I thought you'd be ugly. I'm like, what? He was like, because everything in your Uber profile says you got a great personality and you're a great conversationalist. And he was like, you know, if you're dating someone that's unattractive or something, the first thing you say about him, she has a great personality, you know. So I'm like, no. Shut up and get the bag, you know.
But, but so one of the things and I don't know if I'm gonna throw myself off trying to remember it all, but one of the key things you talked about is going through that struggle in the process. You even mentioned it before about finding the opportunities, and sometimes you may have the tribulation there. And I think it's something so important for people to really hone in on is that process is a part of what develops you. It's a part of what makes you. And a lot of times, like you said, we miss so many opportunities because we see a challenge and we don't want to be bothered.
When I tell you that challenge is going to be,
especially in the cutoff generation, and we want to cut everything off, and we don't want to deal with anything that is bringing unnecessary stress. But that's the importance of vision. And so because you knew that you were wanting to go somewhere where you didn't maybe know exactly where, but you knew that there was something for you with bikes. And so for you, that vision was enough to say, I'm going to stay right here. And I think that is an important thing for people to really hone in on, is you have to have like an idea of something and have enough confidence in it that, you know what, I'm going to follow this and I'm going to stick with it no matter the tribulations. There are experiences I've had that me going through that tribulation, like I know there are like some things like I wanted to just leave the whole state, city, country. Like I just want to go somewhere completely different.
Yeah, you do.
Like
you do.
I just don't even want to be here.
Yeah,
like, I've gone
through
so much. But because I stayed, now I have so much more confidence and strength to see how God worked it out. And what I learned, and seeing myself progress in the midst of challenges, and seeing how a challenge can develop me and my character and my, again, that confidence, or just inner things that we need for the next level. Because sometimes we want to go there, but there are things inside of us that, because like you said, it is still always going to be tribulation. Like you come here and there's going to, but now like the more you deal with it, the more it's like, it doesn't even bother me as much. Like even this, and then the fact of the support of different people, friends and family, like having that, when you begin to understand and really, like you said, just kind of embody, like this is what is for me, eventually you'll see that once you go, because some people, they don't have the vision, so until they see it, they can't get behind it. And it's not because they don't love you and they don't care. And I think sometimes the good thing about that is that we don't, because sometimes maybe our vision would have been limited because we were incorporating people who couldn't see, and it got too easy or was too comfortable. Like you said before, if we get too comfortable, then we don't struggle through and think beyond. And so sometimes we need to be alone, and it may not be because of them, but maybe because what God is trying to produce in you, and because what he's trying to get out of you to lead you where you're going.
That's so amazing. Like I'm smiling where I am because you're really touching on it. Like you really are. Because everything seems so hurtful.
Yeah.
Everything nobody seems to understand. And one of the things that I struggle with now is like everybody gets it. Everybody understands it. Like I've had people from Shreveport, I've had people from Lake Charles, I've had people that want to do the exact same thing that I've done, but when I explained it to you, didn't get it.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted to get it. And you'll get caught up in being in that negative space.
Yeah.
And you can miss some blessings. You miss some. So I'm still healing from a lot of that. So some of what I've told you is just like, y'all didn't get it before, don't get it now. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't even want to talk about it for real. You know, like you can't feel like that though. Because I'm put it to you this way. I'm not gonna say you can't, but in order to continue to elevate, that was grooming. Right. You had to be alone. You had to be in a space where nobody got it.
Yeah.
And that's what really made me go that much harder. Yeah. And that's when I really just started seeking out deeper understanding for myself.
Yeah.
So that's why I went to these SBA classes, and I did all this stuff was free.
Right.
You know, and the lady was always, "Oh, it's you again. Yeah, we're gonna keep coming. You're gonna keep seeing me." You know what I'm saying? Like, so you have to have that type of tenacity behind it if you really want it. And it got to, I'm gonna tell you something I've never really told anybody in a public forum. I kept praying about this building, and it never went away. Like, it literally was sitting here for the longest. People were like, what was this? Nothing since like 19 something, right? Or it had been some things back and forth, but I just kept saying, like, if it's for me, it's for me. So I went and applied. I'm like, I don't know, my credit, being an entrepreneur, your credit's going to be, I don't know why people think that. I'm working on it. Got some people I'm paying to work on it, but like, I didn't. Like, I didn't know how the credit check was going to pay. I didn't know I was going to come up with the money for the deposit. I didn't know I was going to come up for this or this. And it even got to a point to where I couldn't even be happy about getting the keys because I had nothing. And then I went home and I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to move to New Orleans, to Baton Rouge, whatever. Then I just stopped. I'm sitting on my couch and I just stopped because I was thinking about I've been shopping for furniture, shopping for these things that I wanted. Like, I have no money, but I had this building and you know, and I was just like, you know what? If I believe in it, I'm gonna believe in it. I just took all the furniture out of my house. This furniture is out of my house still.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? And it takes that leap.
Right.
Like, my grandmother looked at me, was like, I was crazy. Ashton, he was like, I'm with you, you know what I'm saying? Like, he didn't fully get it, but you know, like, that's what I mean. Like, you have to have, when you have those people in your corner, you cherish them for sure.
Yeah, right.
But my grandma's like, she's looking at this trailer full of furniture and she's like, so what you doing, baby? Don't worry about it, Grandma. I'm tired of explaining to people what I'm doing. I'm going to open up my business. So that's what I did. Like, I literally took the furniture out of my house, and one of the byproducts of that was I had entertained so many times in my house, and it added a level of comfort that I didn't foresee. Like, you know, people like, so how is it having all these people and dealing? I'm at home. Yeah. Technically at home. You know what I'm saying? But it's like everything's not going to line up for you. Yeah. You really have to want it and do what it takes to go get it. Yeah. And my house is still empty in New Orleans, and now I'm about to start renovating. It's a blessing, you know what I'm saying? But you really have to, and not that many people know. Nobody really knows this. It's like maybe 5. But you really have to want it that bad. And that's why I say, like, from the Uber and Lyft to the ride share to everything that I've been through, like, it was all building blocks to here, because I feel so confident talking about it because I talked about it. Yeah. And if there's a business that you want to do, and I also realized I had to talk to pure strangers. Yeah. Because my demographic is going to be strangers. Yeah. 95% of the people that I've ridden on my bikes, I don't even know. Wow. The ones that I did know that rode, it was a byproduct of a girlfriend, a child, a birthday party. I'm still appreciative. But, you know, it's just, you have to get yourself out of the mindset of thinking that it's everybody that you know it's going to be a customer. Right. No, that's the expectation you placed on somebody. Right. I really had to learn to stop expecting and to stop living by my expectations and expecting people to live up to my expectations. One, they don't know what the expectations are. 2, that's something that's on me, not on them to do. And once I kind of got in that space and stopped having that level of expectation, I could appreciate the person for who they really were, the quality of the person. So you really have to want it, step out after it, and it does come with a lot of, like, emotional ups and downs. You will get beat up, and you know, even when I got in the space, I was so nervous about opening my doors. I wanted to do it a certain way, and I wanted to be a certain way, and I was like, the business has a soft open. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I never forget one of my homeboys, Pip, man, what's up? But he would always tell me, like, anytime I would complain about not having money or not having enough money, he was like, you got all this money sitting downstairs, literally all these bikes sitting downstairs in my house. He was like, you're not trying to rent them out, you're not trying to do nothing with them, you know, you're just going to let them sit there until your next, and I would. And, you know, I started, like, practicing. I started just loading the bikes up and just going downtown and setting up shop and see who wants to do it, you know? Yeah. And that's what it became. I started practicing my marketing. Essence Fest 2 years ago. I started going from once again being a consumer to being a provider. And so when there were big weekends, I wasn't out there like that, like I used to be. You would see me at a party like 2:00 in the morning. And that's so I could go and link up with some friends that came down. But I just finished doing a night full of bike tours. You know what I mean? Like I started spending my days at the convention center instead of like observing the atmosphere to actually promoting, you know? Like I just started coming up with the catchy ways to promote. And one of them was like, man, if I just put this flyer on these Mardi Gras beads. So I got these Mardi Gras beads and got these colorful zip tie the flyers, punched holes in the flyer from Kinko's, put them on Mardi Gras beads and handed them out. People went crazy for these beads. I don't know if they thought they were VIP passes or whatever, but it worked because the business I started, you know, and I've also had very loyal customers. A friend of mine named Lauren, she's one of them. Like she's always been supportive and like, you know, there's some people that just see it and get it. And, you know, so when there are people that don't get it, it will bother you if you have expectations for that person. So don't expect them to get it. And it's okay if they don't. And a lot of times you have to understand that people can only lend what's in their capacity to give. You know, if they've never owned a business, if they've never done it, you can't ask these hard questions to somebody. You know, you don't go to a math teacher asking science questions. Like, or you can't, and even though they're your friend and they get you in so many levels, there's certain things that they just won't know. And that's why you'll get so much negative feedback from somebody. And it's not the unwanted feedback. But it's just, you got to keep taking those steps. But the mental state of it, like, so I know, look, you've been at this a while. I'm sorry.
I was about to say, like, I can't keep talking to you as long as I don't know. I'm going to have to, like, have 5 episodes.
Just do like Vlad and Boosie. Have 42 episodes. Get your YouTube streams up. For all you YouTubers out there, follow Vlad, man. I don't even like his. I don't know the man personally, but his business concept with YouTube videos is about streams, right? So he does one interview on Boosie that he used to post maybe once or break it down into 2. So he would have like 1 million streams on this one video. Now he has 1 million streams on 40 videos because he'll give you 5 minutes of Boosie, 5 minutes of Boosie, 5 minutes, you know, so it's crazy. Like they play all kind of numbers with this and games and whatever, but it's just strategy. But
well, I'm gonna have like that many.
My bad.
No, I have so many more things.
That's why I'm like, I don't know how deep you want to go. I can keep going. I'm good. This is on you. Like, look, I'm at work. I don't know what you.
Right.
If somebody comes for a bite, they come. But I definitely appreciate the platform because there's so many people that you don't get to express. You don't have an outlet, and you know the progression. I like the progress of Portia. I love that name because it will lend itself to. It will lend itself to giving, you know, to a lot of mental strain that you can't really, like, people don't think it's normal to talk to somebody about.
All right. Well, that is part 3 with Charles. Okay, I don't know about you, but the information there, it's just been amazing, this journey, as he has shared his process. And today, you know, we have heard about the obstacles, how to handle being misunderstood, the transition of, you know, maybe having to juggle 2 different jobs, you know, even hearing how he Ubered and how he used that time to get the script together for how he was selling and talking about his business. Our perspective matters. Our perspective and how we look at things is just so important. And so the gems that he is dropping is so invaluable to me because it may seem like little things along the way, but these are what they say, the little foxes that that make people stumble, the things that make people struggle, the things that get us stopped up. And so I just thought, like I said, everything that he was sharing was just really great. Like I said, overcoming the obstacles, moving forward, so much in there. So I hope you are taking away things that what you can do. And so individually, what I want you to do as you are working towards your own, and you may not have your own business. Maybe it's a business, but maybe not. But in our lives, we can sit down and we can say, what are the obstacles that I'm facing? So I want you to write down the things that have made life challenging for you right now. Again, you don't have to be an entrepreneur, but for those who are entrepreneurs, I want you to look at your journey and I want you to say, what are the things that have made it difficult for me? And then I want you to say, look at it and say, how can, if I change my perspective, how can I then move forward? And how can I change the narrative in my mind so that I can view it differently? So if Charles was frustrated that he had to drive the Uber and feeling defeated that how can I do this and I'm supposed to have my own business, instead of looking at it as a time to sell his business, share, all the people who rode in his car got to hear about this business that was coming. Seeds were sown, but it also was getting him in a place where he was becoming more confident and bold and talking about what it is he was doing. Amazing. He also talked about marketing strategies. He shared a unique marketing strategy, something he came up with. What are some marketing things that you can do moving forward? What are some creative ways in which you can market your business? Hey, we're in the middle of COVID right now. So if you have a business, what are some things you can do differently? For those who are not entrepreneurs, but maybe you're just going through life, maybe you're in a ministry. So maybe there's a way that you can market or share your ministry with other people differently. Maybe you're a believer and you just want to share the gospel more. Maybe you're just wanting to connect with people better. What's a creative or unique way you could connect with people in the midst of COVID? So I want you all to begin to look within and say, well, I really want you to write it down. I really want you to see what steps can you make moving forward. Okay. So I hope you all are doing that. I hope you're taking the advice and the tidbits that we're getting through this journey. And we're going to have another opportunity. First, I want to thank everyone who came out for the biking and networking event. It was amazing. The walking into wellness. We had an amazing time at each of the events. And I just want to thank you all for your support, for coming out, for pouring into yourselves, but then into each other, for seeing the vision, for believing in us and just being a part. It really means a lot to me. Every person who watches a video, every person who likes, comments, subscribes, every person who comments to me, everyone who encourages me, I can't tell you how much that means. And so thank you, thank you, thank you. So of course, y'all, this is my favorite time of one of my favorite parts of the episodes is when we do our dedication segment. I have to get some music or some segue music to kind of prepare us for this moment, y'all, because it really, to me, this is a special segment. And so again, the dedication segment, if this is your first time watching, is an opportunity for people to be a part of the show. So even if I'm not interviewed or even if I'm not having a conversation with you, if you want to write a letter to someone that you care about. It could be a love letter, a letter of encouragement, an apology letter, a letter of closure. It could be a poem. It could be some kind of, just something you want to dedicate to somebody. Then I want you to write it. I want you to write me. So you can comment below, contact me by commenting below. You can reach me on IG at Progress with Portia. You can reach me on Facebook with Progress with Portia. You can email me at Portia@progresswithportia.com. If you know me, you can text me, hit me in my DMs on IG, however you want to contact me, but let me know if you have someone that you want to recognize with a letter. And so it's been really fun for people. So basically what they're doing is watching the episode with their loved one, and then they're surprised when they hear their name and that the letter is dedicated to them. And so it's been a great opportunity for people to express their feelings, to express love to someone. It's a moment of positivity, to spread positivity. It's a way for you all to feel a part and to engage with me, but it's also a way for us to help other people who may not be used to expressing their feelings to get an opportunity to hear people express their feelings to someone else. And so we want to grow in that. We want to grow in our ability to communicate. Progress with Portia is all about communication. It's about having intentional conversations that we can see progress in our lives. And our communities. And so that also starts at home. It starts with those who we love by telling them how we feel about them, telling them what we think about them. And so that's what this moment is for. So I'm excited to share the letter from today. And I'm sorry I'm reaching up, but I'm going to start the recording. Someone sent me a recording of their letter to their loved one, to their spouse. And so it's a friend of mine. She wrote a letter to her spouse and then she recorded it. And so she titled it "To My Mister." And so I was listening to this and it was just an amazing letter. I'm so glad she was able to record it to hear her voice. And so also, if you want to write something, it can be anonymous. I can share your name if you want. And then also you can come on and you can be a part of the video. We record in advance, so it's not live. And then also, if you want to do it with your face covered and be anonymous, but you want people to hear your voice, or do like my friend did and provide a recording. And so this is her letter to her husband.
To my mister, you were an answer to a prayer I didn't know that I had. When we found each other, I had no idea how much I would grow to love us, how we would grow together and start a family together, how we would support and uplift each other through so many obstacles. I was not thinking about that kind of love back then, or how much it would mean to me to have you in my daily life. Shoot, everyone knows. I used to say I would probably never marry or have children. Look at me now. Your love completely changed the trajectory of my life. And you have no idea just how grateful I am for you every single day. I'll always want to say thank you any chance I get. Thank you for being my partner, and thank you for all of the caring about our family, caring about our home, caring about our boys, caring about our growth, caring about tomorrow, caring about today, caring about our safety, caring about our health, caring about balance, caring about our comfort, caring about our desires, caring about our finances, caring about all of the feelings. Can I say that one again? Caring about all of the feelings. Because boy, your wife comes with some heavy emotions and you've handled them beautifully. Your heart is enormous and I love every little bit of it. Please know that I notice all the small ways in which you show your love, from the silent hugs to the silly jokes to ease the tension, the ordering takeout without question because you know it's been a rough day, the doing a buku dishes without complaint because your wife hates washing them, the trying to keep the boys busy for a few extra minutes just to give me an opportunity to have a little time to myself. I even see when you bottle your own feelings in an effort to save mine. Now, I'm not saying I condone that, but I know it comes from a place of love, and I appreciate the why. I just love so much about you. I really love sharing this life with you, no matter how hard times may get. You're good for my heart and my soul. You make me want to love harder and give more. You make me want to frame all those little cliche quotes about love. You make me want to sing all of the R&B classics because I really do think about you night and day. More than a decade later, and I still love to hug you, talk to you. I love to sit silently next to you. I love to dream about the beautiful possibilities of the future. I just love you. I love your rational demeanor. I love to see your excitement. I love your love for music. I love your love for plants. I love your love for family. I love your humor, even them corny jokes. I love that you continue to seek growth in all areas. I love the way you love our boys. I love your eyes. I love your smile. I love your sexy smirks. I love your touch. I love your... Okay, so this might be going in a bit of a different direction, and I should stop here. But boy, just know I love you through and through, and I hope you can feel it too. Signed, your wife, the Mrs.
Oh my goodness, y'all. I just absolutely love that. That's It's amazing. All of that. And do some snaps, some love. It's just beautiful. I love love. I love to hear it. I love to see it. Love is a process. It is work. And just to hear the detail in her letter and how much she is appreciative of the little things that add up every day. I had another mental health conversation with Black men on relationships, and we listened to something on building trust. And he said it's in taking those moments to turn. I can't remember exactly what he called it, but it's the moments to turn towards that our loved ones. And so those moments of doing the little things, she said, like the dishes or helping or being understanding, those little things matter. So showing up when he could easily say, I don't feel like it, I don't want to, or I think that's for my wife to do. But what she was sharing is that they work together. They see each other's strengths and weaknesses. I mean, she shared more of his, but I know the things she does too. And so, but she shared how, they decided to work together as a team, and he chose to love her even when it gets hard. Sometimes they chose to love each other even when it's hard. And so that's what love is all about. We see the images, we see the pictures, and I was just sharing with someone the other day that my unpopular opinion is that I don't believe in two whole people coming together in relationships. People say that all the time. I don't believe it exists. I do believe that two people who are aware of who they are, their issues, and being equipped with the tools to properly deal with those things. I think that there are some things that we deal with that will never go away. Some traumas, some mental health things, some, whatever. There are different things, and life keeps happening. So the fact of the matter is, every day we're dealing with life, the pressures of life, the aging, the changing, sickness, all kind of different things. And so all kind of things impact the ability for us to fully show up. And I think nobody ever is fully showing up to be perfect. Nobody's perfect. And so I do believe people can be very equipped. They can be very aware. They can be very sensitive, caring, and they can be very intentional to work through their issues. I do believe that people do need to be aware, and there's a difference of hooking up with someone who has no clue what their issues are and who have no tools in order to deal with those things. And so I think for many, that's what they mean when they say whole, but I also think it can become confusing for others, because the fact of the matter is we're going to have to love each other in hard times. We're going to see deficits in each other. We're going to see the hard things. And so we have to love each other through it. And I love that her letter kind of expresses that we're going to love each other. And we've chosen to love each other through the good and the bad. And even though there may be some hard times, there's a lot of good times. And I enjoy loving you. And those bad times or the hard times never stop the love that I have, the excitement and the passion that I have for you. So thank you so much for sharing that letter. Y'all keep the letters coming in. So I'm excited about all that's going on today. We're going out to ride bikes and to share with Gary Chambers as today starts the early voting. So we're excited about that. And so if you are in the Baton Rouge area and you can vote for him, please do so. If you're able to work the phone banks or do something else from a distance, please do that as well. Again, thank you to those who came out to the mental health conversation with men. Thank you to those who came out for the biking and networking event. And so we have some great things coming up. The next conversation is with Trey. And so we will be talking about finances. So I'm excited. Okay, I said the next conversation. So Charles has one more week, and we will schedule an entrepreneur, hopefully a conversation with Charles for entrepreneurs or business owners, to just be able to have a small conversation with him and for people to ask questions and share. So be on the lookout for that. And then, like I said, Trey will be next with, Clipper, the Clippers King. And so he is a barber for his trade, but he also has some wisdom that he has gained throughout life. It's his own personal experience. So he's not coming in the guise of trying to give any financial guidance as a professional in that field, but just sharing from his own personal journey how he has been able to build wealth for him and his family. So he has it's just the foundational principles of understanding money, finance. And so he dropped some gems with us. And so I'm excited for that conversation. That will be in 2 weeks. And then we have some great conversations coming up as well. So be on the lookout for everything. Contact me if you have questions, concerns, comments. Please like, subscribe, and share. And have a great day, y'all. And make sure that, you remember progress, not perfection, and that you do something every day to progress yourself individually as well as the community. Be intentional about the conversations you have. Make sure that you're intentional. You never know the answers or the solutions to things that you have around you, those that God has equipped around us. Sometimes we just don't even see that the very thing we need is inside the people around us. So I hope that you begin to have more intentional conversations and that you begin to see growth in ways that you've never experienced before. Until next time, y'all, take care.